Hello and welcome to not a podcast episode, but I don't know what I'm really going to call it right now. But Merry Christmas. I hope you guys got a lot of cool gifts. I hope you guys hung out with family, did all the things you do on Christmas. This episode will be released on Christmas. Right now it is the 23rd at 8:51 p.m. So this is pre-recorded, but still Merry Christmas. I am your host, Sam Guzman, and this is my predictions for the MLB season, or for every team. Now, these predictions are not fact, they are my personal opinion, and they are based off what I felt how the team performed last year and how they would perform this year. And trust me, these are not not all of these are consensus thoughts. These are opinions. Some of these are opinions, and some of these might just be facts. So let's get into it. For the AL East, I have the Yankees going 101 and 64. Great season with some obvious bumps in the road, causing fans to question whether or not the Yankees are a true contender. But by the end of the season, everyone knows that they will be contending for a title. Now, I do have a rating system. I rated teams 8 out of 10 based on what their season will look like. But that's pretty much the Yankees for you. You know, it's pretty much the same every year. Bumps in the road, injuries happen. The biggest question will be health, for sure. Getting into the season, the question will be health. Now, we're going to start off hot here with my second prediction for the AL East. The Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles will go 94 and 68. They enter the season with this newfound confidence and build momentum after the All Star break to claim a wild card spot and be the last team in the AL East to claim a spot in the playoffs. Oh, and I don't believe I said my rating for the Yankees. I rated them 8 out of 10. For the Orioles, 7.5 out of 10. I believe the Orioles, they get this confidence. They start winning games. We don't really know yet, but after the All Star break, they start to get hot and they make the playoffs. 3, the Toronto Blue Jays. After losing in the wild card round last year, they look to bounce back. But even though Vladdy has an MVP year, it's not enough to carry the team to the playoffs, of course. Their blunders that have kept them away from the playoffs, especially on defense with Bo Bichette, and him not playing to his full potential, Matt Chapman getting older. The pitching staff, I believe, will be fine, but I believe it's more on the offensive and defensive side of things that will keep them away from clinching a playoff spot, putting them at 84 and 78. My rating, 5 out of 10. Next, the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays, I believe, finished out at 82 and 80. And since they made the World Series in 2020, Tampa Bay has not been in the ALCS once. And their fall continues. Though they start out hot, they are not able to hold one-run games and collapse in the second half. I could see Tampa not being able to produce runs or not being able to keep teams from scoring on them in late games, especially when it's close. And I believe they will be hot. Trust me, Tampa is always a tough team to beat, but they can't continue that hot streak or the hot stretch they're on and collapse after the All Star break, rating their season a 4 out of 10. Now, going to the Boston Red Sox. Boston Red Sox end up 68 and 94. The Red Sox are far from their championship team in 2018, mostly because most of their players are gone. And that will cause them to toss this year, throw in the towel. They'll try in the beginning, but once they see their direction, they see that they're not making the playoffs. They're not winning the division, that's for sure, causing them to toss the year and making Rafael Devers one of the big names at the trade deadline. Rating their season 3 out of 10. This is not biased because Yankee fans hate Red Sox and vice versa. This isn't biased. The Red Sox are not very good. They lost one of their best players They might not even get Nathan Eovaldi back. When Chris Sale comes back, who is he going to be? A lot of questions circling the Red Sox right now. Therefore, finishing at the bottom of the AL East. The AL Central, Guardians finish out 94-68, winning the division. They didn't expect to win the division last year and come with a lot of confidence, and I believe they edge out the White Sox for the Central. This is a young team that's added some vets, but we don't know how good this team really is yet. Therefore, I believe that they're going to be good, but still questions raised. It's still a very young team. They're going to make some mistakes. Now, the White Sox, with an average season last year, they look to get back into the playoffs. But while leaving, and these are where some predictions are going to be specific, some are going to be less detailed. Going into September with a 5.5 game lead, there's still work to do, but they can't hold on to that lead. Blowing games in September when the first, or from April to August, they never really had problems closing out games. All of a sudden, their big time closer, Liam Hendricks, is not able to get the job done. Starting to get cold at the wrong time as well. But they still claim a wild card spot. And I'm sorry, I keep forgetting, but it's the 7 out of 10 season for the Guardians. For the White Sox, it's going to be 6 out of 10. Making the playoffs, but knowing that if they got the job done, could have cleansed the division and done it early on. The Royals. I see the Royals at 81-81. With a young team looking towards the future, they start to see the potential within themselves and become one of the funnest teams to watch in the league. One of those young teams that's gritty and grindy, and they become a tough beat. But it's not enough. They still miss the playoffs. But for Royals fans, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's still progress. You're progressing towards something bigger. The Twins. I see them going at 79-83. After losing key players, the Twins look to the playoffs, but are not the same team, and toss this season and try, but don't succeed. I would say they try, but don't succeed to shop Byron Buxton at the deadline for big name prospects, rating their season 4 out of 10. I don't believe the Twins are going to do very good, to be honest. They lost a lot of guys. This is not the same team that we saw in 2019 that was hitting home runs and, winning and winning. No, this is not that team again. It's not. And finishing last, but with the best rating out of all the last place teams, the Tigers. The team's not good. It's not very good. But because of Miguel Cabrera's retirement in 2023, after the 2023 season, it will be mostly focused on him and his last season with the team. And because of that, I believe it will be a 7 out of 10. I hope and I believe that Miguel Cabrera will have a Pujols type season where he does, he has some fun, and shows that he's still got one last breath in the tank. Now to the AL West, and this is where some people might say I'm crazy. Mariners win the division. Yes, I know. It's crazy. But with the success of last year, I see the Mariners continuing to skyrocket and take over the Astros for the division and become a serious contender, rating their season 9 out of 10. And I think I forgot to rate the Tigers. I keep doing this. I apologize. This is my first time doing some sort of ranking. But 7 out of 10 is what I rate this season if I didn't. For the Mariners, 9 out of 10. They improve. Julio Rodriguez becomes another all-star, especially with the pitching staff of Robbie Ray and Luis Castillo. I believe this team is going to be very dominant and hard to stop. The Astros, 165. Even losing the Cy Young Award winner doesn't stop this team. Even though they don't win the West, they still claim a wild card spot, still being a top contender, 8 out of 10, just because they don't win the division. Still a great season. Nothing bad to say there. Number 3, the Angels, 93 and 69. The Angels finally have a good season, but because of a bad stretch, which happens during a road trip involving the White Sox, they missed the playoffs as because the White Sox won more games against them, they miss out. 5 out of 10. Finally a good season, missed the playoffs. Rangers, 70 and 92. Those signing two-time Cy Young, Jacob deGrom, this team does not improve to come close to a playoff spot. 4 out of 10. This team is not good. You have Marcus Semien, you have Corey Seager, and Jacob deGrom. This season, Rangers have to focus on their prospects. And then the A's. You guys got a bright future. I'm sorry, this team's not good at all. I'm sorry, A's fans. It does. You're in that boat with the Giants right now. You know, it's tough. It's really tough. I have you guys finishing out 55 and 107 and a 0 out of 10 because it's not going to be fun to watch this team at all. So, the playoffs would look like this. Mariners, the number 1 seed. Yankees, the 2 seed. The 3 seed going to the Guardians because of the playoff format. Third, the worst division winner gets the top wild card spot. 4 team goes to the Astros. The 5 seed would go to the Orioles, and the 6 seed going to the White Sox. Now, to the NL, and starting off with the NL West, the Phillies. Yes, I have the Phillies winning the division, finishing out at 162. Not 162 wins, 100 wins, 62 losses. Finally, they find their identity. They finally make the playoffs after all this expectation. They finally find their identity, but start slow. But they pick up the pace after the All-Star break, take the division from the Mets in the last week of the season, ending up 9 out of 10 rating. I believe this Phillies team is going to be really good. I don't think they're going to run out the gates really hot. I just believe this team is just going to get hot. I think it's going to be a process. It's not going to be instant, but it's going to be a process. And trust me, when they get it going, everybody in the league is going to have to watch out for this team because it is not going to be easy to beat this team because they can beat you every which way they want to. Now, to the Mets. They take second, 98 and 64. In the last month of the season, the Mets looked unstoppable with a 9-game lead. That would be blown with bad pitching and quiet bats, but they'll still make the wild card. 7.5 out of 10. The Mets, with the way this team is formed, doesn't look good. They have some good hitting. They have great hitting. They have great pitching. But their pitchers, can they last? Can they last for an entire season? You know, we know Senga probably could, but what about your aces? That's when you need your aces. September, October, November. That's what you sign these guys for big deals. You don't sign Garrett Cole to a $300 million contract for him to pitch well in May. You don't sign Rodon to a $162 million contract for him to pitch well in June. You don't sign guys like Shohei Ohtani to pitch in June. You don't sign guys like Jacob deGrom to pitch terrible in September. You sign them to pitch at their peak in October. That's why you give guys the big money. That's why you do it. But with how old these guys are, they're going to do well, but towards the end, they'll start to get tired. And with age looking at them dead in the face, their age finally starts to show. but they still make the playoffs. Atlanta Braves, third, 95-67. Having a great season gave the Braves high expectations for this upcoming season, but sometimes expectations can be just too high. They would hold the second spot in the division until August, where they would hit a rough patch, but in the end still make the playoffs. 6 out of 10. This is a team that can win the division. This is a team that's supposed to take second place and pretty much beat out the Mets. But the Mets right now, the way they are constructed, like I said, are a great team. So that puts Atlanta at third. Sorry, Atlanta fans, but Philly's got Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Reese Hoskins. They got a squad. They got a squad. Their pitching is great. Their except till they got to the World Series, their pitching is great. Their hitting is great, improving with every move they make. Pretty much, Atlanta Atlanta is still trying to run it back with the same team, minus Freddie Freeman, adding Matt Olson. So Atlanta's got to make a big move. They already have a great team, but they might just need one more piece. And I could be completely wrong on this, and they can win the division. But in my eyes, they need one more piece. They need one more piece. The Marlins, moving on. They will get fourth. They get average. No one expects the Marlins to do good this year. But just like they did in the COVID season, they catch fire. But the fire got extinguished. They couldn't hold on to it. But no less, nevertheless, a season to be proud of, a 6 out of 10. I believe the Marlins improved big time this year and make it look like they could possibly quite maybe make the playoffs, but like I said, their fire will be extinguished and they will not make the playoffs. Now, to the last team. The last team will be the Nationals. I'm sorry. Yes, of course it's going to be the Nationals. But yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. The Nationals, again, got a bright future after the Soto trade, but this is not a team you're going to want to watch. 0 out of 10. Zero. It's definitely a 0 out of 10. Now, for the NL Central, I'm going to say just a wild guess, the Cardinals take that division. The NL Central is the weakest division in baseball. Realistically. I mean, when you look at it, the Cardinals don't have much competition. They really don't. And with the addition of Wilson Contreras, the Cardinals once again have an all-star catcher behind the plate. No disrespect to Yadier Molina. Great catcher, Hall of Famer, but in the later years, he wasn't so hot. So, with another all-star catcher, with a great rotation, and all-star corner pieces with Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt, this team comes back, takes the division again. So they finish off 97-65, 8 out of 10 season. Now the Brewers, they finish out 89-73. The team looks to try to take in the division, knowing that if they're trying to get to the playoffs, a wild card spot is not an option. But with bad plays and costly errors in close games, the team flunks 4 out of 10. This team cannot win a wild card spot. Chasing a wild card spot inevitably will leave them empty-handed. So the team aims for the division. But this team's not good enough to win a division either, because there's one good team in this division, and that's the Cardinals. No offense, but it's the truth. So, I believe those are your top two teams. Then you have the Cubs, who finish out 80 and 82. With the addition of Dansby Swanson, the Cubs don't do much better. They get hot, make people believe again, like the Marlins, they might make the playoffs but fall flat. But definitely an improvement from last year. 6 out of 10. I believe this team, like I said, has a chance for the future. Excuse me. But not now. They get better, but not right now. Number four, the Reds. They don't make much noise, but they'll use the season to bring up prospects and try to see what they have for the future. Finishing out 70 and 92, 3 out of 10. Not much is going to happen in Cincinnati. They're going to have some good moments, I believe, but nothing really happening. Nothing special. And then five, the Pirates. With the rumors swirling about Brian Reynolds, it's tough to watch this team. You know, your star player might be gone and the team's not that good, but O'Neal Cruz comes into his potential, making it easier to watch. 4 out of 10, and for whatever reason, I forgot to give this team a record. We're doing it live, and their record, let me think about it. I'll say their record will be. You know what? I'll give them. I'll. Sorry, just had to clear my throat. I will give them. They'll win 65 games. 65 and 97. Yeah, that sounds about right. 65 and 97. Then to the last division, as we will be wrapping this up, the NL West. Padres win this division 104-58. They start off slow, but once Tatis comes back, they get red hot, take the division in their last series too. It comes down to the wire. Rating their season 8.5 out of 10. Padres, they're good. They're good. And this team is going to be really, really good. No doubt they're taking this division. Dodgers, 102-60. Dodgers do the opposite and start out hot, but they hit a bad stretch at the All-Star break. They try to come back, but it was at that point too late. 7.5 out of 10. Still making the wild card, but supposed to win the division, be a big contender, which they still are, but not winning their division takes you like a notch now. Giants. I'm sorry, Giants fans. Giants fans, I already apologize. Yes, did I make fun of you a little bit with a little bit of memes? Yes, I did. I apologized. I said my sorries. So, but 92 and 70. Though having a bad offseason, they make some noise, but not enough for the playoffs. But they improve. They do improve on their record. 7 out of 10. They did sign Michael Conforto, so hey, he might turn it up. He might turn it up. Rockies, 79 and 83. The team's not built to win yet. They have an average season, giving fans hope for the future. 5 out of 10. You know, they didn't get to average, which would be 81, 81. But they were 79 and 83, so they were average. They were good, but not that good. You know, 5 out of 10. Lastly, Diamondbacks, 72 and 90. Future prospects are going to come up. They're going to test them out. They're going to win some games, but nothing crazy. Hope for the future, 4 out of 10. And the playoffs look like this. Padres, Phillies. Jesus. Sorry. Throat is acting up. So, Padres, Phillies getting the 2 byes. Then Dodgers with the 3rd seed. Or no, I'm sorry, not Dodgers. Cardinals with the 3rd seed. Dodgers get the 4th seed because 3rd seed belongs to the last division winner. Fifth seed goes to the Mets, and sixth seed going to Atlanta. And those are my predictions. I will visit these predictions back when we get to the All-Star break, see if I was right, see if I was wrong, see if my predictions are on course. We'll see. Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out my last podcast episode, uploaded on Wednesday. Talked about the Carlos Correa news. And if you wanted to see the troll that not the troll, but the edit that I did, not the edit either, it's the intro I did on that video. It's on YouTube. It's literally at the beginning. It's really funny. I really liked making it. Uh, Check that out. Thank you for listening. And as always, peace.